Well, the Damiano Center has been providing critical services in downtown Duluth since 1982. Whether it's a meal or some new clothing, the folks at the Damiano are there to help with no questions asked. They have 7 different programs to help those in need. Joining us with more is Seth Currier, Damiano Center Executive Director, and Sister Lois Eckes is the chair of the Damiano Board of Directors. I want to thank you both for being here on a real snowy Friday night. Thanks for coming in tonight. Now, Seth, it's my understanding the Damiano Center actually began as kind of a temporary soup kitchen. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, it was. It began out of a temporary need. Some people were serving a meal out of their kitchen, and they really, needed more space, and so they had asked the diocese if they could use the elementary school next door. So that's what the Damiano building used to be. So,
So how has the organization evolved over the years, both in terms of the number of programs and maybe the population that it serves?
Yeah. It has changed and grown. I mean, as the more needs we've recognized that there are more needs in the community. We started out with the kitchen, and then we quickly added the clothing program after that. And then over the years, there were children in the neighborhood who didn't have a meal, and so then we had the kids program, and we've just been adding as we've seen the need. So but we're very particular to just kind of make sure that it's something that is rising out of what the community is saying is needed, and not something that we just think that is needed. So, yeah.
Sister, you're the chair of the board of directors of the Damiano Center. How long have you been chair? Quite a while?
Well, I've been chair, this is my second year as chair, but I've been on the Damiano board. I was on for 9 years. Then I took a break for a year because our term limits are 9 years. And then I came back on. Now I'm in my second round.
So you're very familiar with this ministry. Tell us, really, how important is the Damiano Center in the city of Duluth?
Oh, it is absolutely vital, essential, Dennis. There are people who, I don't know how they would make it without the services that Damiano provides. From soup kitchen to clothes at work, to the clothing program, to all the services that are there. The people really depend on Damiano to make it. And that's how it began, when there was such a need in the neighborhood in the Central Hillside area and beyond, of course, but especially there, for people who were struggling to make ends meet. And so Damiano was there to be a lifeline for them, really.
Seth, let's talk about some of the programs specifically. The community kitchen is one that I think a lot of people are very familiar with, where people can go and get a free, nutritious meal. Talk about that program, and like how many meals do you serve every week? Do you always have a full house?
So it depends on the time of the month and the time of the year. So it is the largest emergency meal provider in northeastern Minnesota, and last year we served 120,000 meals.
Really?
Over 120,000 meals, yeah. So I mean, it's really serving a need. We serve 13 meals a week, and so that's breakfast and lunch on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we serve dinner on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, yeah.
Where do you get all the food?
Yeah, well, so we, from a lot of places, so we work really closely with Second Harvest, with the food bank, and we get a lot of food that we purchase from them at a reduced rate. But we also are, just like any other restaurant, we're purchasing from the same distributors that restaurants are ordering from as well, just because we meet all the same health code standards. But we do have donations of food that people do make in an industrial kitchen that they can donate to us as well.
So can folks in need eat every meal that you provide, or are they limited to X number of meals per week?
No, we don't ask any questions. People can come and they can eat a meal, and they can go back for seconds and thirds, or however much they need. They can come back tomorrow. Yeah, we allow anybody to come. It is open to everybody.
That's a wonderful characteristic of Damiano, that it doesn't ask any questions. It's non-judgmental, and people of all walks of life and all socioeconomic levels, culturally, faith-based or not, everyone is welcome, and we want people to come and feel very respected and honored, and their dignity really upheld.
Why is it called Damiano Center?
That's a wonderful question, Dennis. Actually, goes back to when the story began. Really the dream started in 1981, and then it was a community response to a need, which is so beautiful. You know, a little community organizing. You know, a group got together and said we need to do something about this, and so they formed a little board, and so what are we going to call this? Well, as you know, Bishop Paul Anderson was a great devotee of St. Francis of Assisi, and so St. Francis, the story of him being called, he thought, to rebuild the church in San Damiano near Assisi. No. God was talking about the people. Build up the people, rebuild their lives, give them hope. And so, okay, what are we going to call this new place now? Well, we're not going to use a religious name because we want it to be very non-denominational.
Sure.
Everyone's welcome. Well, Damiano sounds like everybody would be fine with that, you know, because it's a place. So that's when they named it Damiano Center then. Yeah.
Seth, talk about the free store a little bit and the types of things that people can find there.
Yeah. So the free store itself is primarily clothing, and it is whatever comes through the door. I mean, everything that goes out is clean, and it doesn't have any tears or anything wrong with it. It's not dirty. But when we put that out there, people can just come and get a free bag of clothes a day. Every day if they need it. People don't usually take advantage of that, but yeah, but it's open. It's the largest free store in the area, and it is, you know, and it changes. The inventory in there will be completely different the next week, and that's just because we have so many donations coming through the door. So we have very dedicated volunteers that sort all of those clothes and put them out every day. But there's shoes, and there are, you know, tops, bottoms, belts, whatever it might be, underwear, socks, all of those things for kids, men, women, and children. So
are donations up or down this year?
It's actually, for the last couple of months they've been quite high. I mean, we haven't really seen a dip in the donations, but in the last, you know, couple weeks it is starting to taper off just slightly. Yeah.
Are there items that you find you need more than other things, or are there things that people tend to drop off that you definitely don't want?
Well, we can't take furniture or anything like that. We can take some small household items because we can give those out in our community services. But as far as clothing goes, we always need men's. We get a fraction of the men's donations that we get of women's and children's and kids' donations. So we're always in need of men's clothes. Boots, men's, and then in this time of year, obviously coats and boots and those kind of things, especially men's and especially larger size coats and boots. Those are things that we're always in need of, but we'll take anything, so yeah.
I was interested in the Clothes That Work program that you offer too, because it seems like in many cases not having appropriate clothing can be a barrier for somebody who is going out and looking for work, or for somebody who has to go to work every day. Talk about the importance of that program and how it works.
Yeah, that's a beautiful program. So it's a program where someone can come in and they can get 2 sets of clothes if they have an interview coming up. And so that's to help them feel comfortable and feel confident when they walk into that interview. It could be dress clothes or something that's appropriate for the job interview that they're going to. But then if they get the job, or if they're currently employed, they can come get 5 sets of clothes every 6 months. Now that is tops, bottoms, shoes, undergarments, jewelry, whatever it might be.
Sure.
But it's not just dress clothes, it's not just business casual clothes. We have nursing scrubs because we have a lot of PCAs and a lot of people coming through, nurses and that are getting those clothes. We have black clothes for working in food service. We have construction clothes. We have all sorts, whatever type of industry somebody might be working in, we can hopefully accommodate them.
Sister, how does the Damiano Center find volunteers? I'm sure a number of volunteers are needed.
A great number are needed, and that's one of the strengths of the Damiano work, is that we have a very dedicated group of volunteers. Sometimes we need more than we have, but other times we have maybe a little surplus, which is great to have. but the word goes out. Sometimes exposure on the media will make people aware. So Seth, you could speak a little bit more fully to that than I, because you know how that ebbs and flows. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, it definitely ebbs and flows with the year, but we have over 1,000 volunteers a year of people from the Twin Ports that are volunteering every year in the Damiano. And right now in the holiday season, we tend to see a lot of people wanting to volunteer. But I'll tell you, as soon as we hit the new year, we are going to see a big drop in volunteers. So if people are interested in volunteering, we definitely need people in the new year, and that's reflective of the time of year, but also we do get a lot of students, and there are no students. There's a break in classes, and so we're going to need some volunteers coming up here very soon. So yeah.
How do you find volunteers?
Social media, and we have a lot of groups that regularly volunteer. We have classes at the colleges that sometimes send people to volunteer. A lot of people just they walk. Yeah, they can walk in, but we can't help. They can't volunteer that day. They have to fill out an application and go through a process. But yeah, we all kinds of ways people are coming in to volunteer.
And sometimes there are organizations that will dedicate a day a month, or isn't that right,
Sure.
Seth? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they have a commitment on a regular basis. But as Seth said, it really gets lean when classes are not in session. But yeah.
Well, we're so lucky as well. We have some volunteers that have been volunteering for 37 years, monthly, excuse me. We have monthly volunteers that volunteer every month in the same day. So there's just a lot of variety there.
We have about a minute
Yeah.
left, and I know that you want to talk about an upcoming event called Community Connect.
Yeah.
Maybe you could give us some details about that, one or both of you, to why it's important and what people can expect.
Yeah, Community Connect is a really beautiful event. It's a community effort. It's not a Damiano event. It's housed at the Damiano, but it's the county and a lot of other agencies that are working together to host this event. And it has haircuts and birth certificates and IDs and warrant resolution and just access to lots of resources, healthcare and all those kind of things. And so it happens twice a year, and it's coming up on January 23rd. And it's just such an important time for people to get some resources that they don't always get, that they can't get any of our agencies at other times. So it's just a one-stop shop. It's great.
Your sister?
I was just going to add to that. The way that we interact with the people who come is really so beautiful. And it just reminds me of the resilience and the strength and the inner resources that people use when
Sure.
they come to get the help they need.
Well, Sister Lois and Seth, can't thank you enough for being here and telling your story tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.